Okay. So you're going to start by finding that comfortable place somewhere on your front side. And you can always take a pillow underneath either of your cheeks or your forehead. Feel free to stack your palms to support your head. You can always take your feet out a little bit wider if you're feeling any tension in your low back. You can just gently rock your hips side to side so you're pressing your right and then left hip bone in towards the ground a couple times to release your low back. And then eventually come back to stillness. And just take a couple of deep breaths, allowing your belly to press all the way down in towards the ground. And then as you exhale, let your body drop heavier. Inhale, breath filling up, belly presses into your mat. And exhale, let that go. And one more round, just like that. Inhale through your nose. And sigh out through your mouth. Notice the heaviness of your body. And just what this space right here holds. My intention, this practice is just to take space to feel and be in the present moment. Whether that's through breath or body or mind. That you take the invites to be where you are when you are there. And then soak up that entire experience for what it is, rather than looking ahead or behind. Bend into your knees, bring heels up to the sky. And just gently drop your feet side to side, side to side. The next time that your feet come up through center, you can pause and then gently release the tops of your feet down. Bring your chin to your mat and then slowly walk your forearms underneath your shoulders for Sphinx pose. So elbows point back, fingertips point to the top of your mat. If this feels too high, just slide your fingertips forward so your elbows are slightly in front of your shoulders. Relax into your low back and glutes, and just let your head hang heavy for a moment. Stretching out the back of your neck, soften your shoulders away from your ears. Continue to allow your belly to fill up, pressing all the way down into the earth so you're getting that fullness of breath rather than just a surface breath. With each exhale, let your body sink in. Take one more big breath in. And then when you exhale, walk your elbows out wide, lower back down. Walk your fingertips off of your mat, tent up onto all 10 of your fingertips, palms lifted, elbows bent up to the sky. As you inhale, peel away from the ground up through center. And as you exhale, roll your right shoulder forward, look over to the left. Inhale, breath, roll back up through center. And exhale, other side. So dip twice more to each side. But allow for the fullness of breath. So you're not rushing through the movement. So you really get this opportunity to feel into all the different sensations. the invitations to release tension and soften. The next time that you come up through center, once you finish off that last round, just lower all the way down. Plant your hands underneath your shoulders and then peel away from the earth, meeting into tabletop. Shoulders stack underneath your wrists, hips over your knees. And just take a little bit of movement. So that could be some cat-cows. You can play with shifting hips side to side or pulling your hips back towards your heels. The next minute or so of movement will eventually guide you to child's pose. So there's no rush or timeline to get there. Just move until you feel ready to start to sit your hips back to your heels. So starting to really trust that inner voice rather than the voice of the past of when you've gone to child's pose before or where you think you need to go next. Once you do choose to land in child's pose, soften your shoulders away from your ears and just let your body get heavy once again. Spine is slightly rounded. Allow your breath to not only travel to the bottoms of your lungs, but diaphragm pressing down. Allow your breath to travel all the way towards your low back and then expands out to the left and right from there. And then the exhale is like a rinse up your spine. In yoga, your third eye center is a place of intuition and body knowledge. And in child's pose, you're connecting that center to your mat. And so energetically, or even just physically, it can feel nice just to massage out, rock your head side to side a couple of times. Iron out any of the creases of your forehead or furrowed brow. Letting worry melt away. Frustration, anger, whatever is just kind of holding in your face. And creating this blank slate for your practice. Gently keep your legs in child's pose. Walk your fingertips back in towards your body. So you're gonna start to stack your shoulders over your hips. Knees are wide, big toes to touch. If this doesn't feel good for your body, you can always take a block and sit up onto that block. Walk your right fingertips towards the side of your right hip. And then press into your right hand, sweep your left fingertips over to the right and just lift your hips forward. So you're almost lifting up into a modification of camel with lateral flexion. And then sit your hips back, left hand will sweep through center all the way beside the left hip. And then pick up your hips again, reach your right fingertips over. So just gonna do this a couple of times and start to add in a breath. So inhales where you reach over and expand. And exhale, sit your hips back. Feel free to lean as far forward as you'd like or as far off to the side. Additionally, if this is feeling tough to reach the ground, you can always take your hands onto blocks on either side. And know this is maybe going to be a bit sticky to start, and that's okay. As you move through this a little bit more, you might find more space. Just room to be in the present. So just because you feel resistance doesn't always mean it's not for you. Sometimes it's just asking you to slow down and be in it. So let's take maybe one or two more to each side, depending on your breath waves. And then when you come all the way back through center, you can just release your hands down. Lift your hips away from your heels and walk your knees in hip-width distance again. Tuck your toes, pick up your hips, and then walk your hands to the back of your mat for a forward fold. So folding at the back of your mat, hands can reach for opposite elbows or forearms. You can always interlace your hands behind the back of your head or neck. Let your gaze fall between your calves, your knees. Feel the gentle pulling down of gravity as your hips rise up and the length in the backs of your legs and your spine. You don't have to force this pose, just simply allowing yourself to be where you are is creating the space in your body. Release any grip you have with your hands. Inhale, breath, halfway lift, lengthen, find a flat back. Exhale, fold. Still one more time. Inhale, breath, halfway lift and lengthen. And exhale, fold. Take a deep bend into your knees. Place your hands onto your thighs. Take cat-cows from standing. So as you inhale, pull your heart forward, lift your tailbone up. As you exhale, press into your thighs, curl and round through your spine, tuck your chin to your chest. Inhale, breath, start to drop the belly, maybe bend your elbows back. And then exhale, curl and round, straighten out your arms, tuck your tailbone. One more time, just like that. This time when you curl and round, keep that shape as you walk up your legs, slowly rolling all the way up to a neutral spine. Once you come to the top, you can roll out your shoulders once or twice. Tadasana mountain pose. Just take a moment to soak in, catching your breath, maybe just steadying yourself. If you close down your eyes, you can always shift your weight side to side or forward or back. Just feel into those four corners of your feet. Maybe even hear the sound of your breath. Beautiful. On your next inhale, circle the arms up. Exhale, eagle arms, right elbow sweeps underneath your left. Start to wind your arms together. Lift your elbows up to shoulder height. Set your shoulders down your back and draw your forearms away from your face. Inhale, breath. Rise your fingertips or even elbows just a couple of centimeters up. As you exhale, curl and round. Bend your knees like you're sitting back to a chair. Elbows pulled to belly button. Inhale, breath. Press into your feet, stand tall. Lift your fingertips or elbows high. Exhale, sit back, curl around in. One more time, just like that. Inhale, lift up. And exhale, curl around in. Inhale, breath, rise up. Exhale, unwind your arms, forward fold. Should feel a release in the shoulders. Halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale to fold. Walk your fingertips forward, high plank pose. So shoulders will stack over top of your wrists. You know you can always take your knees down for a little bit more support. Take a full breath in, and then use the fullness of your exhale to ripple through the spine, downward facing dog. Start to lift your hips up and back, melt your heels to the earth. Let's do that a couple more times, but slower than you'd like, so not rushing your breath or movement. So your inhale breath, pick up your heels, ripple forward. Shoulders land over your wrist just at the end of the breath to the pause. And then exhale, pick your hips up and back, downward facing dog. And just continue with your breath, moving in this wave-like motion. Press into the earth to lift out of the shoulders the whole time. So there's always that feeling of rooting down to lift up. Okay, nice. From your downward facing dog, slowly lower down onto your knees, tabletop. Inhale, breath, sweep your right fingertips all the way up. And then as you exhale, thread your right shoulder, right cheek towards the mat. Let's do it 2 more times. Inhale, breath, reach up, expand, open across the chest. And then exhale, thread underneath. 1 more time. Inhale, breath, reach open to twist. This time, land your right shoulder and right cheek to the ground. Optional, take a pillow underneath your right cheek. Your left hand can stay rooted, or you might walk your left fingertips forward. Soften your right shoulder away from your ear, so you're creating length on that side of your neck. And then offer the sensation of melting into your mat. letting your body get heavier. Nice. If your left fingertips reached out, just plant your left hand back beside your shoulder or beside your gaze. As you inhale, reach all the way up, take a nice big full body stretch. And as you exhale, right hand meets your mat. Other side, spread your right fingertips wide. Inhale, left hand gazes up. Exhale, thread your arm underneath. Inhale, breath to peel open. And then exhale, twist. This last time you'll land in your twist. So use your inhale to crack the heart wide open. And then exhale, left shoulder, left cheek to your mat. Walk your right hand wherever is comfortable. Allow your shins, your feet, or your toes to hold you steady as you just surrender the upper body. So having that extra time and space in the pose to just feel. Slide your right hand back beside your shoulder. Use your inhale breath. Open up one more time. Feel what it is to really reach through and stretch. And then exhale, take your left hand down to your mat. Let's meet into downward facing dogs. Tuck your toes, rise your hips up. And just play with the shape of this if you need to pedal at your feet or make the shape wider or longer. But eventually find stillness in down dog. Just notice everything, every muscle that's kind of fired up. And then can you also find some places to soften, relax? Maybe even those muscles that are fired are also a little bit softer. So not fully tense and resistant, just strong but flexible, strong but fluid. Beautiful. Looking forward, step your way towards the top of your mat. Use your inhale breath to halfway lift and lengthen. Your exhale to fold. You can always come back up, walking hands at the legs, or bend your knees and sweep your arms out and up, circle arms overhead. So come all the way up to standing, whatever way is best for you. And then hands land to heart center. Inhale, breath, circle your arms up. Exhale, eagle arms, left side. Left elbow sweeps underneath your right. Wind your arms up. Use your inhale breath to lift your fingertips up. Exhale, sit back and crunch in. Okay, so really feel your core work. As you inhale, press into the ground, squeeze your glutes down taller. Exhale, curl back. And one more time, inhale, breath, lift up, send your hips slightly forward. Exhale, belly button to spine. Okay, this time stand all the way tall and then release your arms forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale, fold. Plant your hands, step your left toes back, and then lower your left knee down. Okay, inhale, breath, sweep your fingertips overhead, monkey lunge. Nice. Bring your hands to opposite shoulders, elbows, don't bring tops to shoulders. Elbows or forearms, okay, maybe even wrists if that's better. As you inhale, feel a lift up through your forearms. As you exhale, take your right elbow down. Left elbow will pour up. Okay. Nice, squeeze your inner thighs towards one another. Okay. And inhale, breath, come all the way back up through center. Unwind your hands and interlace your fingers behind your back. Okay, tuck your back toes. Press into your feet and float your back knee off your mat. So you're coming to a crescent lunge. Okay, if this isn't for you today, just keep the back knee down, that's fine. Okay. Lift through the heart. If you really want to challenge yourself, you can close your eyes. You feel your chest wide open. Nice. Gently release the grip of your fingertips. Inhale, breath, sweep your fingertips up. And then exhale, bring your hands all the way down to your mat. Okay. If your back knee is on the ground, just pick it up. Turn and pivot all 10 toes to the right side. So you're on the pinky side edge of your left foot, right foot is rooted down. Optional, both hands stay down, or you can always take your right hand up and reach over. Take a full breath in. As you exhale, lower your hips to a hover. So it could just be a couple centimeters or it could be about a foot. And then right hand can sweep back if it's lifted. As you inhale, pick up your hips, reach your right hand up and over to the top of your mat. And then as you exhale, lower. This is a lot for your wrists. Just take both hands down. Or you can always move the foot that's planted more into the middle of your mat. So just move with your breath a couple more times. Especially because we're focusing on shoulders, reach through the fingertips. You're getting that big opening through the entire length of the arm. Nice. Okay. The next time that you go to lower, you're actually going to lower all the way over onto that hip. Nice. You can either come into a seated twist, bending your bottom leg and hugging your right knee in, or shoelace, so stacking your right knee over your left. So yogi's choice, whichever feels better for you. If you're in shoelace, you're welcome to play with lateral flexion, walking your right arm out, reaching your left arm over. If you're in twist, you can just simply hug your knee into your chest and play with rotating the shoulders, or even walking your right fingertips back. Additionally, in shoelace, if you're looking more for that glute opening, play with leaning forward, hinging at your hips. So whichever variation you've chosen, you'll be here for about the next minute or so, so about 8 breaths. Rather than waiting for the pose to end or just trying to get somewhere, you allow yourself just to explore breath by breath what this moment holds for you. So whether you've twisted, folded, or hinged off to the side, just slowly bring yourself back up through center. Those of you in shoelace will come more to a seated twist with your right foot planted. Look to the top of your mat, lean your fingertips to the top of your mat, and you'll meet into a pyramid. So as you press into your feet, pick up your hips, and then turn all 10 toes to the top of your mat. You can always grab a block if the ground feels far. And then that right hip's going to want to sweep out to the side. So feel your right hip pull back. If you're not sure how to feel that, press through your feet and then imagine you're taking your front heel and your back toes and they're pulling towards one another. And from your pyramid, bend into your front knee and just gently step to the top of your mat. Take an inhale breath to halfway lift and lengthen. And exhale, fold. Bend into your knees, inhale, breath. Circle the arms up or walk yourself up. And then exhale, hands gather through heart center. Inhale, breath, circle your arms. Exhale, forward fold. Find your breath, halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale, plant your hands, step your right toes back, monkey lunge. Lower your knee to the ground. And then use your inhale to sweep arms up. So reaching for opposite elbow or forearm or wrist, you'll probably end up taking the same grip. So if you did, take the opposite grip. It should feel a little bit more funky. Nice. As you inhale, lift up. Exhale, left elbow drops down just a couple of centimeters. Not a huge movement. You should feel that a little bit more through the front of the right hip. Drop your shoulders away from your ears. And then your next inhale, lift back up. Exhale, release your hands and interlace fingers behind your back. Optional to stay here or tuck your back toes. Press into your feet and float your right knee off of your mat for your high lunge. Side shoulder blades together. Allow your collarbones to broaden and imagine your knuckles pulling back towards your right heel. If your breath is short, allow yourself to take a really deep exhale. Nice. If you are still lifted and hands interlaced, gently release. Inhale, sweep your fingertips up. And then exhale, hands to your ground. Float your back knee off of your mat if it's rooted. Turn and pivot all 10 toes to the left side of your mat. So you're in a variation of modified plank. Optional, both hands stay down or left fingertips reach up and then over to the top of your mat. As you inhale, lift your hips up a little bit higher. As you exhale, lower your hips to a hover of your choice. Left hand can reach back. Inhale, reach up and over. And exhale, lower. And just follow this arcing of your body. Opening up through the hips and shoulders. The next time that you start to lower down, you can use both hands if you'd like, and just take your right hip all the way to your mat. Okay, bend in your bottom leg. So you're either coming to seated twist or shoelace. Try the same variation you did on the first side. If you don't quite have the same depth, that's okay. If you need to switch up the variation, no, that's also okay. So whatever you choose. Let go of the expectation of what has come before this. And like you just gotta explore this pose for the first time. You have a full minute to get to know your body. Maybe to reset the way that you talk to your body or yourself. Notice if you're holding tension in your face, your jaw, around your eyes, and just let the skin soften. Last couple of breaths. And whatever variation you're in, use your next breath. Just slowly bring yourself back up to neutral spine. And start to plant into your left foot. Reach your fingertips towards the top of your mat so you're leaning over onto your right hip. And then pick up your hips and come into a pyramid fold. Hands can always reach for a block if the ground feels far. And then either squeezing your inner thighs or draw your left heel and your right toes towards one another. Just finding that sensation of squaring the hips. Gonna give you a way different lengthening down the back of the leg. Nice. Step to a forward fold at the top of your mat. Okay. Take your feet a little bit wider than hip width distance. Left hand can either come into the middle of your mat or onto a block. Bend into your left knee, straighten out your right hip, and then twist open to the right. Right hand comes up either to your low back or all the way up to the sky. And then as you release, bend both knees and then circle your right arm forward. Other side, right hand roots. Straighten out your left leg, circle your left arm back and up. Pause with fingertips to the sky. Kick your left hip out. And then on your exhale, bend both knees, circle your left hand forward. And one more to each side. Straighten out your right leg, circle your arm back. Pause at the top to take an extra breath. And then as you exhale, you'll circle forward. One more over to the left. Take that moment just to be in the pose and then to come out. Halfway lift and lengthen and exhale, fold. And turn your toes out, sit your hips down, Yogi Squat. You know, you can always sit onto blocks if this is feeling like a little bit too much today. Hands can come to heart center. If you want to play with a little bit of twisting, you're always welcome to walk one of your hands out and float the other one up. You can play with that side to side. Sometimes it just feels nice to drape the upper body forward. So you've got a lot of options to play with. But you're going to be here for about 5 to 7 more breaths. So just choose whatever your body is craving. Letting go of that idea of I know this, and instead exploring this. All right, if you are in movement, start to come back, hands to heart center or to the ground. Pick up your hips and turn your toes towards the top of your mat and just fold for a moment. You can always take any movements that you're craving. Use your inhale breath to halfway lift and lengthen, and exhale to fold. Bend into your knees, inhale breath, sweep your arms all the way up, take a nice big stretch, and exhale, hands land to heart center. Tadasana mountain pose, release your palms down beside your body. You can always roll out your shoulders. Just take a moment to connect back to your breath. Sometimes we land on the mat and it's so much about the physical postures. We forget these other layers of the body. So just maybe tapping back into, what does it feel like to breathe? How can I slow down my breath to invite myself into the present moment? Or just what does it feel like to be in my body right now? On your next inhale breath, circle your arms out and up. And then exhale, forward fold, let that go. Halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale, plant your hands, step your toes back, high plank. A little bit different. We're gonna lower down to forearms. We'll take your right elbow down, left elbow down. Nice. Okay, modified side plank. Roll to the pinky side edge of your right foot and take your left hand onto your hip. You can always turn your right fingertips to the side of your mat. Okay, press down into the ground, lift out of your right shoulder, and then come all the way back through center. We'll take the other side. Roll to the pinky side edge of your left foot. You can always use both hands to steady, really rooting through your left forearm. Feel your hips rise up as you open through the obliques. Come all the way back down through center, lower to your knees, and then lower all the way to your belly for Sphinx pose. Okay, pause in your Sphinx for a moment, though you can be up as high as you'd like. Just making sure you're not cranking into the back of the head or neck. Juicy stretch through the front line of the body. And then slowly lower all the way down. Bring your right cheek to your mat. Cactus or T-shape, your right arm out to the side, and then plant your left hand beside your left shoulder. So broken wing pose. When you feel ready, you can start to press into your left hand and stack your left side body over your right. And that left hand can really land wherever is comfortable. So whether that's wrapped around your low back, fingertips stay rooted, or you just kind of relax into that arm. Notice how it feels to open the chest after some of that work with the shoulders. Nice. And on your next exhale, you can slowly roll all the way back through center. Bring your left cheek to your mat, other side. Left arm cactuses or T-shapes up to the side. Press into your right hand and start to stack right side body over left. Soften and melt into this shape. Feel your breath move as your body stays still. And then gently roll all the way back through center. Reach into your mat. Interlace your hands behind your back, feet zip together, so big toes touch. You can keep your feet rooted the whole time if you'd like. Don't think about lifting up, think about lengthening. So press your toes in the opposite direction of the crown of your head. Pull your knuckles back towards your heels, and as you do so, you'll naturally just start to rise up slightly. Okay. Think less about trying to crank into the spine and more continue to reach your body in opposite directions. Squeeze your glutes. If you want to make this more challenging, you might lift your feet, but you don't have to. Okay. Humble your chin to your chest. And take 2 more breaths. So making sure that that breath flow hasn't changed. We're still sending signals to the body through the breath that it's okay to be here. When you exhale again, you can gently release down. Take whichever cheek you'd like to your mat, arms down beside your hips, palms face up. Take a couple of deep breaths to just let that release. Okay. Bring your chin to your mat once again. Okay, bend into your left knee and then reach your left hand back for the top of the foot. So just half bow. You can walk your right hand underneath your right cheek, or it can just stay as it is. So you're welcome to just stay here in a bit of a quad stretch if that's feeling good. If you want to play with a little bit more lift, you can always lift up onto your right forearm. Bending deeper into your left elbow to bring your heel in towards your body. So you're just looking for the opening of the quads for a moment. Soften, relax your glutes. And if you are lifted up, just slowly lower down, release the grip of your foot and float the top of your left foot to the ground. Other side, you can always use your left arm underneath your cheek. Bend into your right knee and catch the top of your right foot. And just allow yourself to explore your body in this shape. So it might just stay down, or you can pick yourself up to get a little bit deeper into the back bend. Bend into your right elbow to draw your heel in closer. Don't be afraid to switch your grip if this isn't feeling right for your body. Bring your attention back into the here and now. And then gently lower down, release the top of your foot. Take both hands down beside your body, either cheek to your mat, and just take 5 full breaths. Filling all the way up to your belly, a reminder of that fullness, that depth, and then completely emptying out. And last little back bending, opening. Bring your chin to your mat again. Bend into your knees so your heels come in towards your glutes. And then you can even just play with staying there, or you can reach your hands for the pinky side edges of your feet. You're welcome to just hold a double quad stretch, or you can play with bow pose, kicking into your hands, rolling your shoulders back. And try to keep your gaze fairly neutral so your neck is an extension of your spine. And then squeeze your inner thighs towards one another to activate the glutes and hamstrings and adductors. Wherever you are, you'll take 2 more breaths. And then allow your second exhale to slowly lower you to your mat. Nice. Let all tension release from your body. And if you need a little bit of movement, you can always wiggle your hips side to side, or you're welcome to bend your knees and just drop your feet left and right, left and right. Okay. Plant your hands underneath your shoulders. Peel all the way back up through tabletop. Shift your hips to the sides like you're wagging your tail. And then let's meet into an elongated child's pose. So reaching your fingertips forward. Pull your hips back to your heels and just take a gentle stretch of your spine. The back bends can sometimes feel like a lot for the lower back. So you're not looking to come into a full fold, but just creating that space as your hips pull back to your heels. And your fingertips press in towards your mat. Nice. Slowly peel yourself forward once again. Scoop your feet out to either side. We're going to work into fish pose. So you can start to sweep your feet forward. Okay, fish pose. You can do it from seated or from the ground. So if one isn't working, we can try the other way as well. So have your feet planted out in front of you and just start to walk your hands back behind you. So your fingertips point in towards your body. And then one at a time, you can lower down onto your forearms. Okay. I like feet straight in fish, but you can always keep your feet planted. And then just pick up your heart and allow your gaze to tip back. You may need to change the direction of the elbows. I find elbows pointing back is the best, but sometimes it's a bit tough for the shoulders. So you might need to point slightly out to the side. And then if tilting your head back doesn't feel good, just feel like you're lifting up through your heart. We're going to be here for a couple of breaths because this one can feel a bit awkward and we have this tendency to just want to jump out of it. Nice. Okay. If lifting up from here doesn't feel good, you can always slowly just kind of slide your elbows out and lower all the way down. I know sometimes that lifting up of the head doesn't feel great. Once you come onto your back, just take a nice big stretch, reach your arms overhead, full breath in. And exhale, let that go. You have a couple of options, whether you want to make this more restorative or a little bit more active. So plant into your feet, setting up for little bridge. If you want to make this more active, you will not use your block. If you want to make this more restorative, you can place your block underneath the backs of your hips. So from your little bridge, hands root down beside your hips, feet about hip width distance apart. Press into your feet to rise your hips up. So you're welcome to stay here. You can interlace your fingers behind your back and walk up onto your shoulders. Additionally, you can always take your hands to your low back with your elbows bent and just help to prop up the hips. So that's going to be the probably most intense variation. Okay, for those of you who aren't feeling like you want that intensity, just slide a block underneath the backs of your hips. And you're welcome to pause there or play with straightening out your legs as well in that variation. So wherever you've landed, let your full attention land with your body for 2 more breaths. Feel the effort or ease or maybe a little bit of both. And if you do have shoulders or hands underneath your body, just gently unwind your bind, lower all the way down. Take the soles of your feet together, knees out to the side, supine butterfly. Left hand to your heart and right hand to your belly. If this feels like too much for your hips, just gently guide some pillows or blocks underneath your knees. Feel the rise and fall of your chest and belly. A reminder that through all of those sensations, your breath never stopped working for you. Okay. Let's come all the way back up through center so you can pick up your knees and walk your feet in close. So optional, you can play with bridge, supported bridge, or if you want to try wheel and you're feeling like you're ready for it, you're also welcome to take wheel. Okay. If you want to take wheel, sweep your fingertips up to the sky and then bend your elbows so that your fingertips start to come down to the mat beside your ears. And you apply your hands so that your fingertips point in towards your shoulders for wheel. Okay. Whichever variation you take in on your next inhale, you can start to press into the ground and lift up. If you are taking wheel, you'll press into your hands. Maybe you just lift up onto the crown of your head, or optional to press into your hands and straighten your arms. There's no right or wrong. I'm going to take supported bridge because that's what I'm feeling like today. But if you are taking wheel, when you feel ready to come down, if it's before my cue, just tuck your chin to your chest. So that way you will roll through the spine rather than landing on the head. Okay. So those of you that have taken wheel or bridge, you're gonna meet us actually in supported bridge. So from wheel, you'll come all the way down. And then pick up your hips, slide a block underneath. Nice. So this isn't really so much a back bend as it is a lengthening of the low back. So you want to think about pulling your hip bones up towards your bottom two ribs. Almost like you're getting a little bit of traction in the spine. And again, you can always straighten out the legs or keep them bent, whatever feels best for your body. If your legs are extended, bend your knees, plant your feet. Press into your feet, pick up your hips enough that you can slide your block out from underneath and lower all the way to your back. And then walk your feet wide and drop your knees towards center. It's a pyramid pose for the legs. Hands can land over belly and heart or just down beside you. Neutralizing your spine. Letting your breath come fluid again. And then gently release your knees away from one another and drop your knees side to side, just washing out your hips. The next time that your knees come up through center, pause and just hug your knees into your chest. Now you're welcome to pause here, knees into chest, arms wrapped to your shins or hamstrings. Or if you want a bit of an extra opening, you can always reach hands for inside or outside edges of your feet for happy baby. Knees drop down to the sides of your rib cage. It can feel nice to rock a little here side to side or extend out one leg at a time. So just these last little bits of movement to iron out any stickiness of the spine. And whether you're in happy baby or knees into your chest, the next breath, you can start to release your grip and allow your feet to plant down. Extend your legs long. Take a big stretch overhead, reaching your hands behind you, point through your toes. And then Banana Asana, start to walk your heels over to the right. Hands and shoulders can also walk over to that side. If this feels like a lot on your low back, one of my favorite variations is just to bend into your right knee and plant your foot, and then take your right hand to grab a hold of your right ankle. So it just helps to keep your hips square so there's no twisting in the low back. Additionally, just don't walk your hands or feet over quite as far. So it's okay to just have a tiny amount of sensation. Looking a little bit more just for the lengthening of the spine than a deep stretch. All right. Slowly come all the way back through center. Bend your knees in once you've uncrossed your feet. And then shift your hips up and over to the right. And take your arms out wide to a T or cactus shape, hugging knees into your chest. Optional to take a block or pillow between your knees or over to that right, to the left side. And you're just gonna drop your knees gently over to the left. So knees will be going the opposite direction of where your hands and feet were last pose. Just bring any blocks or props to support you so that your body doesn't have to do that work. Your body can completely relax, setting that for final Shavasana. Might even start to notice the abundance of this moment, of all the things you can notice or tap into, both outside and within your own body. Let's slowly unwind from your twist. Shift your hips back into the center, and you're welcome to take any movements you'd like before finding Banana Asana on the other side. So when you're ready, you'll just take that nice big stretch, and then heels and hands walk over to the left. If you are taking that more restorative variation, bend into your right knee, right hand wraps around your ankle. Let your gaze just fall wherever is comfortable. Sorry, left knee, not right knee. If you're taking the modification, it'll be your left knee bent, left hand to your left ankle. There we go. Allow your breath to rinse up and down the length of your side body that's being expanded, open. And slowly come all the way back through center. Bend your knees in, planting through your feet. And then shift your hips up and over to the left. Knees hug into your chest. And just on your own timing, allow your knees to drop over to the right with both shoulders staying rooted. Notice all the room you have to just fully unwind. All those sensations you maybe felt throughout the practice of the back bending and heart opening started to shift back to neutral. Notice how much space there is for you to just be in this moment. So nothing tugging at your attention or asking you to get somewhere. I'm holding this space for you, so I'll let you know when you can start to shift the attention. But for now, you're just gonna slowly unwind up through center. Take any final movements, or if there's a pose you really want, before landing these last few moments of your practice in Shavasana. So if you're still feeling a little sticky, take some movement. Otherwise, you can start to extend your legs out long. Additionally, if you prefer Shavasana today on your side in fetal pose, or you prefer Shavasana perhaps just on your belly or somewhere else, know that you're always welcome to take that. And once you've landed in your Shavasana, just bring your awareness back into your breath. The simple ebb and flow. Your soul will never complain about you taking a big, beautiful breath. Not even when life is heavy, especially then. Take the time to just simply honor your divine design and breathe. Breathe in and breathe out. I'll bring you out of Shavasana shortly. I'm just taking this time 100% for you. Each moment of your day is filled with ordinary joy. The smell of coffee in the morning or freshly cut grass, the crispness after the rain, the cool breezes. We're moving so fast to get to where we want to be, we often forget the joy of just where we are. Take your time to just slowly awaken your body in whatever way offers you joy today. To step into your day, just honoring that gift of the present moment. And maybe today joy is just staying on your back a little longer, or just rolling to your side and pausing there. Or maybe it's coming up to seated. So whatever feels right for you is exactly where you need to be. And you can take any hand mudra or gesture you want, or leave it. There's no rush to get where you're going. You have lots of time. Time is just a human construct, so we can always shift it if we need. You are worthy of this time and space. And when today or this week starts to unravel a bit out of control, just come back to your breath and remind yourself of that divine timing. Breath in all the way to your belly and breath out. So much love and gratitude from the bottom of my heart. Namaste.